Someone may think that the apostles are greater than pastors and prophets and evangelists, and it will look like that means God chose someone to be greater than the other. But that's not it. When it comes to the fivefold ministry, there is no one that is greater than the other. And I know with this, people have arrangements that they have apostles, then they arrange with apostles, prophets. I, as a prophet, these are unique things that you need the master alone to explain to you before you can understand. When it comes to things concerning servants, if you are not a servant that the Father counts you as worthy, you wouldn't know the secrets of God. Because you see that the Lord Jesus was telling the disciples that now I don't call you servant, but I call you friend. So there is a dimension you can get to in closeness with God, in intimacy, that the Father can even speak to you and tell you secrets that others do not know. And you can believe me as a prophet when I tell you that in the fivefold ministry, there is none that is greater than the other. It's for the fulfillment of the agenda of God. So the reason why you see that in the epistles, the apostles always, when they are arranging the rank, they say to the prophets, to the apostles, and to the prophets. Yes. So when you look at that, you may think that the apostles are greater than the prophets. Yes. But the apostles are not greater than the prophets. The Spirit of the Lord told me this is the reason why they do that. You see that in the days of the early church, the apostles were the ones Jesus left the church to. Yes. So they are the people who are counted to know more about God. So you see that in that environment, it's the apostles who were the top. Yes. So when they are telling the church concerning the levels of hierarchy, they would list the apostles as the greatest because there were no many prophets there. So which prophets will you bear witness to that this one is elevated? Or when it comes to developing of the church, the prophets can do the work? No, because the Lord left the work to the apostles in that era before new prophets were dead. So according to that narrative, in the days of the apostles, the priority or the workings of the apostles were greater than all the others. And that's what makes them to do the arrangement in that way. But it doesn't mean that the apostles are greater than the prophets. So it's an error if we think or we preach that the apostles are greater than the prophets and the prophets are greater than the teachers. And normally they'll give this place to the teachers, that the teachers are the smallest. For that reason, they are the least. No, when it gets to even the accountability or and this is by Apostle Paul himself. Apostle Paul, James says the same thing. Those who are teachers shall be strictly judged, even than the others, not even the apostles. It's because the teaching ministry is very important. So it doesn't mean that the apostles of the early church did not elevate the teachers. Doesn't mean that the teachers are lower than the apostles. That is wrong. Because he that was much is given, much is expected. So if the teachers will be judged strictly by their words, that means that the assignment is very important. So you can't place the apostles above them. And also looking at it, Apostle Paul says that they should give the elders in the church honor, especially those who labor in doctrine and in teaching. That means the teachers have a profound ministry that they should be given double honor, not even the apostles. So when you look at it, everyone presented their message based on the era they were in. In the Old Testament, it's like the prophets were above, there were no even apostles. But when it comes to the early hours of the church, it's the apostles. So the apostles are the elevated among the rest. But in balance of the church, there are no ranks. There is no rank. So the only rank you have in the body of Christ is when it comes to the government of the Lord Jesus. And these are mysteries that only people who are close to the throne of the Lord can have privilege to these things. Because this is the government of God. We are hidden things where you know more about the two witnesses. You know the ranks of the seven angels, the seven churches. Then we can talk about the 4 living creatures, talk about the 24 elders, talk about the 144,000. These are the things which form the government structure of the kingdom of the Lord Jesus. The government structure of the Lord Jesus. So that is only where there is ranking. But when it comes to the fivefold ministry, there is no ranking.